full of muscle can't stop me. Hey,
One.
come on.
Fight.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the least dead podcast in the Southern Hemisphere. We're still alive, boys. We're still alive. Today's going to be a pretty banger episode, if I do say so myself. So I hope you're all comfy and cozy and have your favorite hot drinks at the ready, because it's going to be a good one. Hangman, how you going, brother?
Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. My name's Hangman. We're joined here by Poultry here at the Swindler Podcast, and we're living in very interesting times. Today is an episode that you don't want to miss. You cannot miss, especially if you're residents in OCE Tekken. This is my most anticipated episode because of our guest today, and we're living in very chaotic times here in Tekken. We're just a few days away, actually just literally 1 day away from Combo Breaker, 1 week away from Battle Arena Melbourne, our own major, and 1 week and 2 days away from the next balance patch, give or take. And of course, Tekken has gone through a lot of changes from games to games. Within a game itself, like Tekken 8 itself has changed so much in one game.
Real.
And today's guest is someone that has lived through so many Tekken, so many versions of Tekken, and have been a top player in each and every single one of them here in Australia and OCE in general. Very traveled person, probably the first ever. If there was the first professional Tekken player in Australia, it would be Mr. Deeon Gray. And Mr. Deeon Gray has a reputation wherever he follows him. And we're starting the podcast right away because Deeon Gray is not here yet. He is actually playing against Yagami in a death match. He is not here with us in the podcast yet. He is still finishing up that death match right now.
I was.
Hey, hello, Deeon. How are you?
Good. Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much for being here. Honestly, and I'm we haven't really spoken too much, and we've met maybe a few times, but I'm always really happy to have a chat with you, whether like in person or online. You've always helped me out with my own Tekken, so I'm just very happy that you're here in the podcast with us.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, look, our community seems to have shrinking quite a bit. Even nowadays, when I come to offline events, whenever I make a top 8, I look around, I genuinely do not see anyone else from my period of time of Tekken. The only person I see is Yusuf, which is a TO, and that's pretty much it. So, I mean, bunch of new people, bunch of new gens. There's like literally no one in freaking above 30 even nowadays. So I'm 36 this year. I don't know. This probably is going to be very close to my last Tekken for anything competitive. So, I will make most of it and enjoy as much as I can.
Yeah, even like for me and Poultry, a lot of the people that started in T7, that started with me during Tekken 7 Season 1, they're not really here anymore. I mean, they're still there, but they don't come out to locals or they played a lot less. I think it's just, how generations work, I guess, right? And
yeah.
For the people here that don't know who Deeon is, I think Australia as a region would not be as advanced in Tekken and progress in Tekken as much as it is now without you being in the scene, because a long time ago you I guess you must have used your own money to travel all over the world, and you made friends with so many Koreans, right? And I think the famous story is Saint teaching you how to play Jack, and you sort of taking what you learned from abroad and you taught it to the people around you in Melbourne, in Sydney, to Rec and Eli, who continue to teach it to other people. And now, like, the people that are the product of those things don't even know where it came from. So I think you've contributed a lot that people don't even realize, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually started off as a player in New Zealand. I was doing my boarding school in like 2006, 2005, so a long time ago. I thought Tekken 5.0 on the arcades, really enjoyed it, played a bit of it. And then, played a bit in New Zealand. And then eventually I moved to Melbourne. So I spent about 10 years in Melbourne. And, I was quite well known for just as Melbourne Deeon for most of my Tekken career back then. And like we go to the arcade, we played, and I got better at the game. And I never really took the game seriously until like, in the arcade days, people would. It's much more serious than death matches now. Like death matches now, you go online and you find someone you rank and you play, right? But in the arcade, once you hit like a specific rank, the only way to rank up is to rank from someone that's the exact same rank as you. So when you're at the top, there's no one around you in your whole region. The only way to do it is like if you fly from Melbourne to Sydney and fight someone there, right? So, when I was in Melbourne, like back when I was playing, we had people from Sydney coming down, like Handsome Boy at the time or Lucky Strikes, they'd come down, and then like every fucking time they would come and take our points. And then like I never really thought about it. I'm like, oh well, this guy's. And then like one day, this other guy called Samo, he was like, hey man, aren't you sick of people coming to like our hometown and pissing in our backyard? I was like, no, I never thought about it that way. He's like, yeah man, people are just taking our points and like it takes us months to like rebuild these. And I was like, shit, this guy's got a point. So then I started like, because Melbourne's never won OHN as well. I don't know if you guys know. I think up until like OHN 9, whatever, never won. I think in, like one player or two players made even top 8, and I was one of them the first time. But yeah, so I was like, you know what, this year I'm just gonna put a lot of time and effort into the game. I was in like the Tag 2 era, and then won OHN for Melbourne. And then won OHN for Melbourne, and then later on I realized like, damn, our skill gap compared to like the international Tekken is massive. Because after that, I think Knee came down, and I realized like whatever I do, just nothing works against them. So I made a bit of commitment, traveled overseas, met Saint, who played the same character as me, a bit earlier than most people here. So I was a bit lucky to play Tekken 7 on the arcade before the release. So as you were mentioning, I had some pretty good performances, especially at Evo that year when I came like 13th.
Wow.
But yeah, like very different times now, game's very different. I actually had to completely reprogram my mind about how Tekken is thought of and how it's played, to basically perform and do well in Tekken 8. And yeah, very similar. Like I coach XCC now, so as a coach, I have to tell him like something that I would probably never have said or done in the previous Tekkens. Yeah. Different game now.
Got to adapt. Well, before we get to XCC, and that's fucking insane. I really like the idea that some guy had to tell you, oh shit, Sydney keeps kicking our ass, dude. Maybe we need to get radicalized.
And Samo is the Hong Kong guy, right? Is he Hong Kong?
Yeah, Samo's the Hong Kong guy. We used to train together all the time.
There you go.
No, I never thought about it before. So.
Yeah, they just keep kicking our fucking asses, dude. Well, speaking of New South Wales and by extension, Melbourne, Victoria, real quick plug. For those of you who are watching, I've just chucked up on the screen Battle Arena Melbourne 2025. This is coming up. It's exciting. Sign up. I've been a little bit apprehensive about how I've gone about advertising this event of late. And I think I had good reason. I think season 2 kind of took the wind out of a lot of our sails. But they've started to... people are signing up, dude. We've currently got over 200 attendees just for the Tekken event. And I was taking a scroll through some of the attendees, if you're watching right now. We've got Nobi coming down. We've got Lohai. So obviously we always get a lot of Japanese and Korean players at BAM. It's very privileged in that way. We've got Dawood Sikandar coming down from Pakistan, which is crazy. We've got Matsuba. We've got Kaiser from the US. We've got Shadow from the US. If Shadow manages to win his round 1, he gets the privilege of fighting me, which is amazing. It's going to be a banger. We got Chanel. Kwis is coming down. We've got some EU representation. Kudans, John Ding, Hulk and Caboodle. It's actually getting super stacked. I think Chikarin is coming. Rangchu. So if you guys aren't signed up, take your thumb out of your fucking ass. Subject recently reneged on his decision not to go by signing up. So if Subject from South Australia can do it, you can too. I believe in you. Zerzok, I know you're in UAE. Come down to BAM. Mega Clinton's going to be there. No excuses. Hangman, any thoughts on the fact that Arslan Ash is going to be at BAM?
Well, he is one of the favorites to win. He just won today's dojo event, Combo Starter, the
Yep.
pre-event to Combo Breaker. He won. He beat Chikarin in the finals, in the stack tournament as well. And King Ray Jr. is gonna be at Melbourne.
Yep.
And King Ray Jr. honestly is not just a top American player right now.
He's a top player
in the world. Yeah,
He beat Evo, man.
yeah.
Wow.
Look at his results lately.
Yeah.
His results lately, he beat, he had 3 tournaments with Arslan when Arslan was in the US. He finished first one time and he finished second twice. And he had to beat Arslan for that first place finish.
Yeah.
The kid's actually no joke. He's actually not a meme.
He's incredible.
He is favored to get top 4, I reckon, at this event.
Yeah.
On paper, at least,
The running gag a little bit was that Hangman, you should enter because there's 4 whole EWC spots, but it seems the entire world has decided that 4 EWC spots is maybe one too many because it's stacked. We've got Keisuke and King Ray in the same bracket in Australia. And Arslan Ash.
Absolutely.
And Joker.
Yeah,
Dude.
look at that guy. You see that guy? If you scroll down, there's a guy named Ryuichi. Ryuichi is sort of I think Yamasa sort of picked up Ryuichi recently. He's kind of like the up-and-coming Dragunov. I don't know if he's the best Dragunov in the country or anything like that, but this guy is like one of the more prominent Dragunov players in Japan right now. He's like winning a lot of the Tatakai Tuesdays. Yeah. So even this guy's showing up.
Yeah.
BAM is going to be really scary. Yeah.
Naria, isn't Naria CBM's girlfriend or something? Is CBM coming?
I would assume so if Naria is coming. Yeah.
Fingers crossed, dude. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be dope. Are you? Never mind. The question answers itself. Deeon Gray will be at BAM. So I know there's a lot of fangirls in the chat.
Thank you. I will. Hey, by the way, I'm just thinking, has anyone else ever won BAM more than me? I won it at least 2 or 3 times.
I don't think so.
I started early, bro. It might be a hard competition now.
I don't think it's going to change this year, dude. Because if Arslan wins,
I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any repeat winners. Ni won 2, right? Ni won 1. I think Ni won 1 time. Ulsan won 1 time. No, Ni definitely won 2 times. Chanel won 1 time. Marimo won 1 time. I won 1 time. And I don't think there's any repeat winners.
I feel like such a fraud. I'm in the presence of 2 BAM winners, and I can't even get top 8 at Pixel, dude. Unlucky. Unlucky.
And we're not even talking about Shadowloo. Did you win any Shadowloos? I assume you did.
I've came second because I lost to Help Me.
Oh yeah, that's the year Help Me came out. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's it.
Big name. Hey, it is what it is. You can't be mad at that. But yes, everybody, we've got BAM coming up. For those of you who are Victorian locals, or those of you who are coming from out of state, who are just going to be here early, we've also got a pre-BAM Tekken tournament. Hangman only just told me about this one, and I'm super stoked.
This will be a dojo event as well. Dojo event,
$10 for the day's entry, $5 for the tournament. So for a pretty $15 on Thursday, the 29th of May. Come down, dude. It's going to be banger.
Yeah, pre-BAM Tekken tournament, BFG. This will be at Kensington Town Hall. We're calling it the Prince of Bel Air tournament because it's at Bel Air Street. 3 p.m. Thursday. If you're already in the city, feel free to come. I won't be able to join you because I work on that day, but I think we're hoping to get a few people there and maybe some pro players if they're here early. We're not sure. We'll see what happens.
It'll be sweet. And a quick second plug before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode. Not only do we have BAM going on at the moment, or coming up rather, but we do have Combo Breaker currently on 23rd to 25th of May. That looked like Victim of Ritual popping off. Absolute banger player.
That's Dr. Krabs, dude.
If you guys aren't paying attention to Combo Breaker, you should. This is probably the fighting game tournament of all fighting game tournaments. The reputation is insane. It's 24/7 venue, and it's stacked, dude. It's stacked. We've got over 1,000 entrants just in Tekken 8. I know there's been quite a bit of concern about stuff like, Evo Tekken numbers are so far down and shit. It's like, dude, if you've got 1,108 Tekken entrants in one room, you're going to see some fucking magic, okay? We got Sperigin, Low-High, Invains. We got some bangers. Rangchu, Nomar, all of America's best are going to be in attendance. We got Shons! We got Shons showing up. It's going to be good. So definitely take a look into Combo Breaker if you haven't been already. And if you haven't been, Xerox will DM you he'll just be able to smell it. He'll be able to smell that you don't know that a tournament's going on, and he will ping you. So that's Combo Breaker. That's where we're at. But turning the gears back to Deeon. Well, firstly, Deeon, thank you so much for joining us today. How's your day been, dude? What have you been up to?
Yeah, pretty busy. So I'm obviously managing and a co-owner of Team Essence at the moment. So there's a lot of work in terms of like our Dota 2 stuff at the moment. And I'm also part of a few crypto projects and exchanges. So yeah, pretty busy overall. But I always get time to put in for Tekken. That's the thing, I get to travel. Most of my stuff's done online, so that's the beauty of traveling and still enjoying the game. But yeah, it's been good, man. I just got back from Evo Japan, and my next actually, I'm definitely coming to Melbourne, but I'll break you guys the bad news. My player XCC actually got his visa denied, so he won't be attending.
Unlucky.
Yeah, so he will actually be, he's not too upset about it because there's another Russian event happening at the exact same week.
Really?
As BAM. Yeah, it's actually a very big one. So I think it's like over 10K prize money. The last year grand final was XCC versus Strog.
Yes.
And this year's one, there's two representatives in every country that I saw on the list. I had like a massive list of countries, and then XCC asked me, it's like, which ones do I need to be worried about? And I had to look through the list. I mean, the only player that I thought would give a bit of hard time is the two Thai players going up. That were not bad, and the Russian players. But we didn't. It's weird because we didn't get any names for Australia or anything like that. But yeah, so he's a bit upset he couldn't come, but he'll be at a different event. And
that event sounds huge. And Zerzox just said bricks. Let's go. Is that the name of the tournament?
That's the one. They had it last year. It was the year, but I think this year they got it a bit earlier.
Fair enough. I'm gonna see if I can find it. You guys keep nattering, and then I'll fuck it up.
I think Deeon, you picking up XCC actually changed TWT rules. You picking up XCC caused him to get forcefully dropped out of that tournament, which forced him to change the rules. And now Russia and China are allowed in TWT because you picked up XCC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, to be fair with you, that is definitely something that changed the rules. But I think in terms of what we did at GG back then, we picked up. I don't know if you guys heard the story.
Yeah,
we
picked up
Pakistan, and now Pakistan is like the top region in the earth. So
you picked up a TIFF butt.
Australia got the ultimate talent scouts, dude. Jesus.
we found a TIFF butt, to be honest. So what happened was I was in a room with Aslan before he won Evo and got famous. And then obviously I didn't know who he was. Naveed hooked me up. He's like, hey, there's a guy from Pakistan. He's pretty good, man. You want to suss him out? I was like, yeah, man, I'll take him on. So he sent me his contact. We met up in my hotel, just me and him at the time. And obviously I didn't know him. Very friendly guy. I'm like, hey, man, let's do like a first to 10 or whatever. The score ended up being 20-0.
Oh my
God. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like nothing hits this guy. And then I just went back to GG and I was like, hey man, these Pakistani guys are no joke. I've first-hand experience. So I spoke to him. I was like, you know what? We're gonna have to find another one of these guys or his twin brother or something. So I hit him up. I was like, hey man, you got another guy you can introduce me with? Because there's no way you can be that good without a second player. He's like, yeah, I got this other guy called a TIFF. and a TIFF didn't speak English back. Well, he doesn't speak much English now, but it was very easy to talk to. I was like, hey man, nice to meet you. I'm Deeon. We're thinking about potentially getting a Pakistan player for TWT and get sponsored. He's like, when can we get started? I was like, all right, let's do it.
You jumped on it.
Yeah, so we took a TIFF and we took a YS, and then both of them flew to the first event in it was a Japan event, a Japan major, and then they both got locked up a day before. They couldn't come out because of visa issues. And when they came out, they came first and second. So they pretty much stopped.
Who won that first event?
A Weiss, right? A Weiss, I believe.
It was a Weiss.
A Weiss.
Yeah, I remember that was the story. Like a Weiss literally winning his first international. And then that became like the Pakistani thing. Where you'd fly out a Pakistani player that'd win that first international.
That was the second wave. That was the second wave after Arslan winning. Like, people were still like, oh, is it just Arslan? Is it a fluke, right? But after the double Pakistani Japan event, I think people started to take Pakistan really, really seriously after that.
Yeah. You had to. You had to.
And they were wearing GG. They were wearing the Australian org.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that was special. You know, we don't really celebrate that.
No, good days. So we definitely bring the Pakistan saga up now. So
There you go.
Cool.
Well, let's lead that in then to XCC, who's some people in the chat may not know who XCC is. Star Phoenix has asked, how did you meet XCC? What's the story there?
Okay, so look, like as you mentioned, I've been a competitive player for Tekken for a very long time, and the thing is, China never really had very strong Tekken players throughout its history of Tekken. So every time I went back to China, all the top players would ask, like, hey, you want to play? You want a deathmatch, or you want to play some online rank? And it's been a bit of a tradition. Every time I go back, they'd hit me up to play. And, I always played my best. And, the connection's not the best there, but, I just worked with what I had. And then one year I went back. I had a bit of a time where I didn't go back. And they're like, hey, we've got this new player that's come here. He's pretty decent. You want to check him out? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. I'm happy to play everyone. I played him. He played Steve at the time, and it was Tekken 7. I played Marduk. We had a first to 5, and I won 3-5. And I didn't really think too much of the time. And then someone told me he's like 14 or 15. I was like, okay, well, that's pretty impressive. Like, when you're playing pretty decently, but when you're at that young of an age, pretty decent. And then he added me on chat, and we had a bit of a communication. Very nice kid. And then once Tekken 8 came, we were looking for a Tekken player to pick up. And I had a few people in mind. I actually had Taisei somewhere I wanted to pick up. And I was thinking also and I actually messaged Taisei, he was quite keen as well. And I was also thinking about Goal Attack. And then it was out of those two or XCC. And XCC was actually going to be the most riskiest one. So in terms of like sponsoring a player, like the most important things, we look at 3 things mainly, right? Tournament performance, he has none, or the other 2 all has good performance. Second thing is they need to be active on social media. All 3 of them. All 3 of them don't. But the thing is, he doesn't even speak English. And then the last thing is, if any player can also stream, that's a bonus as well. And but the other 2 did, and then he doesn't. So in terms of risk, he was definitely the most highest risk. But what I thought was, look, he's got a very long way to go. He's young. And one thing that I thought that would make him, that he would be very strong in, is that after Tekken 8 came, the netcode got much more better. And he actually lives in a city, which is the closest city to Korea. So he's the only one in China that actually grinds on Korean ranking. And he can actually play with a Korean player. So it's, as long as he gets the right training and information, and then you put that into practice and playing like Tekken in Korea with higher skill-based players, eventually you're going to get better. It's all about will you put in the time. And then I spoke to him. I said, hey, look, we're really thinking about picking a player. Would you be keen? But obviously there's going to be a lot of commitments on your side because it is definitely a bit of a risk from me. And he came on board. And then exactly like you mentioned, we send him to Tiger Uppercut last year. And I think he was about to make top 8 in winners before he got DQ'd. And I had a feeling it might have happened because they actually didn't say I was going to get DQ'd. They just, so we actually asked TWT what happened. I'm like, hey, look, what happens if this guy joins the tournament and he makes top 8? And then they're like, we don't know. I'm like, okay, so what happens if it happens? And then I'm pretty sure at that back of their mind, they're thinking like, yeah, right, it's not going to happen because it's a stacked tournament, They
were already refusing to put any of XCC's matches on stream, right? So they were banking. Yeah, they were banking on him not making it.
Yeah, correct. And then eventually it got to one match before the top 8 where I think they have to kind of stream it. Because I made a joke about it. I'm like, look, they go, we can't stream it. So I was like, well, look, I made a joke to Namco. I was like, so what happens if my player makes grand finals? Does that just mean this gets cut and no one watches the finals? And then they're like, we've never had to deal with this situation before, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. Then eventually, one match before.
Yeah, we'll see, all right? We'll see.
They had no choice. They're like, okay, look, unfortunately, we just have to cut it here. And that's it. Then the story, because it was a very stacked event, a lot of pro players there, and then a lot of players felt Yeah, I mean, the kid was very young at the time. It's like 18.
He's so cut, right? He's so sad.
And
And it was very sad.
it wasn't just XCC as well, was it? It was Higem, I think, from Russia. I think there were two Russian
The Russian players didn't make it to top 8. They were close, but they were close.
Yes. So, so I mean, we've got this thing in China, which is the Chinese Reddit, and then that thing kind of blew up with the story because, first of all, like China's a very proud country, I'm guessing, and then they said that their player got disqualified, and as soon as one big streamer gets on board talking about it, all the streamers get on board, and then it became a pretty big story. And basically Team Essence popped off from that time, and that's why we're in partnerships with Weibo. So I don't know if you know Weibo, that's the team that we're with right now, is the actual Twitter of China. So
so you got a big deal out of it, right? It's pretty good.
Yeah, they're a multi-billion-dollar company, so they are
huge.
This Twitter doesn't show the level, because it's not predominantly English speaking platform, I guess.
There might even be some people in the chat who watch stuff like League of Legends. They've got a massive league team, like one of the best in the world.
Yeah. Well, they picked up Meta RD, so he's our teammate, and Meta RD just won freaking Capcom, whatever. He just qualified for EWC, right?
Evo Japan.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, they definitely didn't have any funding problems. They basically, they definitely wanted a Chinese member. So when they approached me, they asked me if we wanted to come on board, and I said, and they asked me a very realistic question. They said, look, in your opinion, what's your likelihood of qualifying? And I said, look, I'm going to be very upfront with you. I'm looking at the ladder board for last year for the top 30 that qualified, and I think he beats at least 60% of the people there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say we're going to be at about 60 to 70%. So I think it was quite confident. And I said that with a confidence, and I genuinely do mean it. So they were like, well, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So there you go. So I mean, that's how we ended up.
The proof's in the pudding as well, because even if you look at Evo Japan last year, they had the post-Evo tournament, which obviously isn't the same stakes as Evo Japan, but it was like 90% killers and grand finals, and the winner of the event, XCC, he beat Yagami in grand finals, and you look at the top 8, it's stacked. You had Joey Fury, I think you had Victim of Ritual, you had a bunch of Japanese players, a couple of Koreans, and it's like, dude, the kid is cracked.
Yeah, he's definitely a good player. He has some. I think in terms, like my personal opinion, in terms of skill and Tekken feeling, he's definitely up there. The kid needs. I mean, basically, all we go through is just some mental thinking at the moment. Like you got to believe in yourself. You can't be like, hey, I'm already defeated before the match. Like that kind of stuff. I think when at a younger age, that's the more stuff that you got to focus on and work on instead of the actual gameplay of the Tekken side, because I think reaction and game understanding wise, he's definitely quite good.
And this is, as you were mentioning earlier, you said that he's privileged enough to be in the closest city to Korea in terms of Chinese cities. This is something that I noticed towards the start of Tekken 8, because I've been a fan of XCC since T7. And I grind all the replay channels on YouTube for ranked matches. I don't give a shit if it's not tournament. If Lohai is playing a match, I want to watch it. And if you go and look at XCC's Weibo, if you look at any of those aggregate websites that show you like the ELO of given players on ranked, I think one of XCC's most common head-to-heads is Lohai. And you would see it on these replay channels. It's XCC versus Lohai, XCC versus X-Japanese player, or XCC versus Kadans, or whoever. And he's putting up a fight. And the fact that it's actually showing out in his tournament performances is insane. It's actually insane.
Yeah. Funny you say that. We actually used that waifu website to have a look at all his past history and having a look at the players that he's having trouble with. Then we break down a bit of the strategy and have a look at it and why he's losing. So, I mean, funny enough, in all of Korean ranking, he only has 4 players that he's on a negative percentage against, but majority of the players he's on a very positive ratio. So he definitely still has a long way to go. But I definitely want to see him and get into the EWC finals.
I have a follow-up question for you. With Pakistan, when Al-Hassan won, I guess the world at the time wasn't sure if there were going to be more killers coming out of Pakistan. Do you think it will be a similar story in China, or XCC has just such a different environment because of practicing with the Koreans that it's actually just him, or is there more?
Nah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think. I mean, I've played the second best player in China that's rated at the moment, and I played him very recently. And I think the skill gap is quite significant, in my personal opinion. I mean, the second player is still decent. I mean, very aggressive, but in terms of adaptation and understanding of the game, I think the actual skill gap is quite big. So he was definitely originally very good, but he's put in a lot of time. And the young players have something better than traditional players at the moment. Is I think they have better understanding in Tekken 8 than a lot of the older players. Like for me to adjust to Tekken 8, I actually have to reprogram a lot of the stuff that I used to think about, and it just doesn't work anymore, right? Like playing defensive just isn't the way to win. So for them, they adjust to that rock paper scissors style much more better. And I think the overall adaptation and picking up the game has been good, but I think in terms of like the second player, the skill gap is still quite big.
I have a follow-up question, right? And this is to do with, I suppose, what you're saying about how good can someone be? You know, what's the talent of a player? A lot of people over the years have asked you for help, right? Whether casually or in a more serious manner. I know a few people in New Zealand, like Flawless, back in the day, maybe asked you how to get better. I've asked you how to get better. And, Eli and Rack, they've always spoken with you as well. So you have a lot of data of like top players as well, all around the world, beyond Australia. What do you think makes somebody better than others? Is it just hard work, or is there some kind of level of talent, understanding in the game, or is it a personality type? Someone who's more patient can go further. What is it? What do you think makes somebody special, like XCC?
So look, I think in terms of Tekken, it's not a game where people get very frustrated. They like when people ask me, they're like, "Oh, hey man, I'm always losing to my friend here, and he beats me, and I don't know how to download him." Like I get that question asked all the time, right? You got to understand one thing about Tekken is at the moment the game is not about you being able to beat Knee or beating JDCR in a first to two. Anyone could probably do it on a good day. The thing is, how does your style compare to 100 random players? And how many players are you going to be able to beat out of 100? If you can beat, let's say, 55 or 60, but Knee beats 98 of them, then the skill gap is still very big. Even if you beat Knee in a first to two, it doesn't mean anything. So the thing is, like, our Australian Tekken. So my personal opinion at the moment, because I've been around the Tekken scene for so long and I've seen it grow, I think right now we got very lucky because this is the first release of Tekken where the game has been released globally at the same time, instead of Korea and Japan having the game bloody 2 years before the rest of the world and being ahead of us, right? So that being on the same ground has given us time to be on a similar level. And then having the new players, the new gen and younger players being able to adapt to the style, and especially our style is very mix-up heavy, quite aggressive and quite mix-up heavy. So I think in terms of the rules of the first to two, we are actually quite, like my personal opinion, I think like you'll see it at BAM. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of upsets from Australia. But what we like is people win a first to two, but they're not actually winning because they had a full download of a player or their understanding of the game. They played aggressively and they played what they did every time, and they probably got a good player in on a bad day or something, So I think the skill gap is still there, but I think we're actually in a very good state in how Australia's level is compared to what we've been previously overall.
Yeah,
I think you don't have to polish here, really. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but going back to your question about like how do you differentiate the players like at the top and at like a mid tier, I think it all comes down to mental. So once a player is like, for example, I was with XCC in the grand finals watching that Evo Japan finals, right? As soon as Menno Ardi walked on stage at the grand finals, I told XCC this is going to be 3-0 and he's going to win. Or he's just going to win. And he's like, why? I'm like, look, I've been there before. Like when you're on a streak of winning, you go in, you don't give yourself the doubt, and you don't have the option of coming second. You just go in and you win. It's just another day in the office. And when your mentality is like that, you're going to be able to win a lot of the events. I think confidence in the game is just like the number one thing. So if you go in there with high confidence, you've planned an A and a B, and if A doesn't work, you go into your B plan and you do it with confidence, and players can feel your confidence on stage. I think that's what really differentiates. I think the actual skill between like mid, high, and high is not like massive nowadays. It's actually closer than what's ever been.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think one thing that has kind of pointed to that, at least to me as well, is the prevalence of people who can kind of make multiple characters work at a high level. When the game first came out, I was under the impression that it's like this gargantuan task, and I do think it still is, because I think heat adds so many extra characteristics to how you go about combo structure and how you go about your offense. But also, it's like the great equalizer, right? Like everyone's got this capability to hit you with something and then put you at -10. And now you got to eat a mix, so you got to eat this, or that. And in prior seasons, it was -17, right? And so you would see players like Dojin or Lee Mishima who would enter a tournament and play like 4, 5, 6, 7 different characters, and have some success because they would just rotate in the character that felt like had the strongest potential to mash out all of their aggressive options, and overwhelm the opponent. Which I think is really interesting. So I'm curious to see, because we've recently had Knee popping off with Brian, and he's been pretty staunch about solo maining Brian of late. But some of these intrinsic game systems, I guess, like what you're saying about how defense isn't necessarily as important in this game. When you look back then, I guess, to something like Tin Lu beating Kudans back in T7, I suppose. You look at a player like Tin Lu, and then you look at players like Yagami or XCC. What do you think then, I suppose? Do you feel like T7, when Tin Lu beat Kudans, that was a bigger win than some of the stuff that XCC or Yagami have been doing of late? Or do you feel like these players are still very much all unique outliers in their scenes?
No, I think in terms, it's like Tekken, you can't look at something from one match, right? So let's just look at Tin Lu as a player as a whole. So yeah, Tin's a great player, but if you look at Tin's performance overall, so how many top 8s has he made? I can't actually think of any. Maybe 1 or 2, right? Mm-hmm. How many events has he won? How many upsets has he had? He had the one where he beat Kudans, sure, but how many has he had?
Yeah.
If you compare that to someone like Yagami, right? He's been consistently doing it.
Yeah.
So like if you were to ask me, I think, in terms of results and skill, like Yagami is quite a lot ahead, even though he did beat Kudans. But I mean, how would I rate Kudans at that time? Like, I think he was definitely like a A to S tier player, but definitely not like right at the top where Ulsan's knee was. So I think one event is hard to justify. Like, you got to look at a player as a whole. But yeah, like for example, XCC and Yagami has beaten many players, like many styles he's been able to beat. It's going back to what I said. If there was 100 players, Yagami probably beat like 80 or 90 of them, like that's the more important thing. Like XCC took out Nobi and Double and like actual EWC qualifier players. Yeah. So that for me, I think is more consistent in a way to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just bringing up XCC's Evo Japan tweet. You got 13th place at this recent Evo Japan, which is insane. 982 players in attendance. He had 7 wins.
Yeah, this is also Yagami's result. 13, I believe, is Yagami's result as well.
Yeah. So you don't get 7 wins in a bracket this stacked for free. Like the level of skill, once you've gotten just a couple of wins, even just off the bat, you never know if you're going to run into some random killer in your very first match at an event like Evo Japan. What are you able to tell me, I guess, as XCC's confidant and coach, and the guy who's really like pushing him onto the international stage, about his performance at this event and some of the players that he fought against?
So look, he just asked me, it's funny. He just asked me like, oh man, I'm going to play Nobi tomorrow. Can I beat him? I'm like, yeah, you're going to beat him. That's it. And he goes and beat him. You know who he ended up losing to? He lost to Malgu, and then he lost to Matsuba. And the reason he lost is because he's just like, oh, I don't feel like I can beat this guy. I'm like, dude, if you just played normally, I think you would have just beaten him. Like, you just got to stop. like every day, every evening when I'm with him, when he tells me this, I'm like, bro, just shut up and stop giving yourself excuses. That's it.
The Asian upbringing is so
It's
strong.
just like, bro, like it doesn't matter. Like, just go in there, like, yes, this guy probably beats you fucking 10-0, but when you play tournament, you might beat him 2-0, then it's going to be a 10-2. So, like, you can't think like that. Like, just go in there and do your thing and perform and play your best. Don't think like, am I going to beat him? Can I beat him? Am I going to qualify for EWC? I always told him, like, look, so it's important that I get him qualified for EWC this year. Like, that's our ultimate goal. But it's not like I'm asking you to qualify this event. I'm asking you to play your best. That's all that matters. And at the end of the season, if you don't get into EWC, whatever, man. We got next year. Tekken's going to be around forever. So it doesn't matter. But you need to go in there and just play your best Tekken. That's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good way to look at it, to be honest. Like, you can't, as the performing player, you can't be stuck in the mud, right? You have to, the next game is the next game, right? Go at it
absolutely.
one by one.
Dude, I ended up coming, I think, like 40 something at Evo Japan, right? And I ran Lars that tournament, and I just picked up Lars. I've just picked up Lars a few weeks before the event. The reason is because we had that whole make some noise busted crap with Jack, and then I couldn't practice my main character. And I had and then I had like a week before bloody Evo was starting. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, look, if I pick Jack and get a habit of make some noise, I'm actually screwed for the tournament because I know for a fact it's patching soon. So I was like, I have to go back to another main character, right? And I looked around and I'm like, look, what's the easiest character to get results in and get it quick? I just looked at the tier list for the highest damage and I was like, well, I did main Lars and tag 2, so I'm just going to pick up Lars. I played Lars for like 2 weeks straight. And I know for a fact that like a lot of the players in Evo Japan I played are probably younger and probably even better than me at this stage because my reflexes are nowhere near as good as what they used to be. But when I'm in that tournament city, when I'm playing, I just play like
nothing to lose.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. I got nothing to lose, man. I'm playing, and this move you can block this probably 100 times, but today the 101 time you're probably not going to be able to block it. That kind of feel.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to performance. I think it all comes down to the way you think and the mental.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because one of the funny consistent themes on Tekken Twitter recently has been King Ray Jr. takes.
Yes.
And one of the ones that he always talks about is how it's Asuka downplay in essence, which is fine. He's earned it. If anyone's earned it, it's probably him. But he talks about how Asuka down 1+2 is a move that you should just react to. And then someone's basically quote tweeted him from a recent tournament where they ran the Asuka mirror and he hit him with like 4 down 1+2s in a row. And it's like, yeah, dude. It's tournament. It's tournament. Your mind is racing a million miles per hour. You're expecting to be able to react to something that maybe is on the verge. Maybe it's fully reactable. My success rate in this game, and I think what you were saying earlier about the offensive aspect of this game, you can get away with shit in this game. Like, you can really get away with shit. One of my favorite Steve moves is his peekaboo down 2. It's like a 27 frame low. It's a counter hit only launcher. I can't tell you how many times I've hit Yagami with that fucking move. And it's not because he can't react to it. It's because when you're in a tournament or you're playing at pace in this game, it's confidence. It's your ability to say, yeah, I'm going to enforce this game plan. And if it goes wrong, I'm going to adapt. And if it doesn't go wrong, I'm going to do it again. And you just need to have that confidence. As it's interesting hearing you say that about XCC, because when I watch him play, he plays at such a high level and in such a clean way that, at least to me, someone who's not at that level, I look at it and I'm like, man, this guy plays with a lot of confidence. He's fast. He's young. You can feel flashes of like Ulsan when he was younger as well. Just in terms of being a youngster, but playing a very straightforward game and really making the most of it. But it's interesting because you, as his coach, you're able to see when he's having his off days, right? You're able to see, okay, he's playing nervous. He's in his own head right now. And yeah, that's fascinating stuff, man. He's got a like the infinite potential ahead of him, given how young he is. But it's definitely interesting hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a long way to go. I mean, there is still a pretty big, decent community in China. I think their WeChat group has like a few thousand players.
Wow.
But the thing is, but it's just a lot of it's been inactive. I think they've lost a lot of confidence because China never really did well in international events. But yeah, we've finally got someone that might potential and make EWC.
It must be special for you as well, right? You were born in China, right?
I'm Chinese.
Yeah, so it must feel special. You're kind of helping your origin, right?
That was the thought process as well. I'm like, look, if I don't sponsor XCC, then no Chinese player is ever going to get sponsored. If no Chinese player ever going to get sponsored, if Tekken 8 still continues to grow and this keeps happening, this is the end of China's Tekken community. I kid you not. That like people will just have more and more less interest in the game because they just have no one to represent and they just think that the skill gap is too big. So I was like, we have to give this a try. Even if it doesn't work, we give it a try.
Well, one of my favorite storylines in esports of the last couple of years.
Give me a second. Like, you surprisingly have a big heart, Deeon. You help out the scene actually quite often.
A lot. The last few years has just been helping the scene.
Yeah. And go on, Poultry.
One of my favorite storylines in all of esports of the last few years, really. I don't know if you know about this, Hangman. Deeon, you might have heard of this. In Counter-Strike, they've been having sort of their own Pakistani scene renaissance with this team called the Mongols, who are from Mongolia. Mongolia does not have esports. That has never been the thing. It's never been the thing that Mongolia has esports. And then back in like 2018, or maybe a little bit earlier, but I think around 2018, 2019 is when they really started to come up on the map. There were a bunch of Asian international events, and this team would show up called the Mongols, and they would do really well. And people would kind of be iffy about them because it felt like Mongolian Counter-Strike was literally just a battle of who has the best aim. So it's less about strategy, more about hitting your shots. And in a game like Counter-Strike, hitting your shots is very important. But strategy is core. It's a game of chess. Of late, they're one of the top 10 teams in the world, and because of their success, the Mongolian scene has become that much stronger. There's so many young players in Mongolia. When Deeon was talking earlier about how this issue last year with XCC getting DQ'd from that event sparked a bit of a flame in the Chinese scene, and you had like some of the bigger names in streaming talking about it, and it's making the news maybe. That kind of thing happening is such a big deal because that could be the difference between some random 14-year-old deciding, this Tekken game's pretty cool, or deciding, wow, this Tekken game is sick. This XCC guy, that's an abomination. They should have let him play, let him run the set. I'm going to be the next XCC. I'm his biggest fan. Let's go China. And that's what you want. That's how any good scene, any strong player comes about is in part the backing of their scene. We often talk about these outlier cases, players like Book, who have been able to make it irrespective of the fact that they are a substantial outlier from their scene. But if you talk to anyone now about the Thai scene, everyone's going to tell you they're way stronger than they used to be. The skill level's been raised. It's not just Book's success, it's the success of his whole scene now, in part because of his success. So the fact that XCC is doing so well, I'm super excited. Like, are you seeing rumblings yourself, Deeon, of like the Chinese scene? Like, there's more people coming in trying to reach that level?
Well, surprisingly, it's a little bit more sad than that, actually. Yep. It's actually the other way around. So we've got a big group with Chinese players in there, and a lot of them are quite in the old gen. So they're around like, 30s, 40s, and they've been a fan of like Nia and Nobi their whole life. And then he actually gets put down. So it's like, if before his match, he'd read the groups, and they're like, oh, Nobi is the god of Tekken, and no one in China will ever. And he reads this, and it gets to his own head. And I'm like, bro, why are you reading this shit like 20 minutes before a tournament, man? Who cares what other people say? Nobi is good. I grew up watching him winning all the events. But that's like saying Cristiano Ronaldo is in the soccer team and will never beat that team. Yeah, he's good, but he's made his legacy. But this is where you need to shine. This is a different game. You can't think like that, right? So like, it unfortunately in China, they've actually been a little bit like people, there's actually been more haters than I expected.
Yeah,
if anything.
interesting.
Yeah, but
that's
they
interesting.
they have big fans of like Nee and Nobi. And,
Do you think his
yeah.
age has to do it? He's so young, you know. It's kind of like how XCC performs kind of like overshadows their own glory. Is it that sort of like
I think it's
narrative?
because his generation they didn't grow up on an arcade scene, so he doesn't really know majority of the players very well. And therefore, you know, a lot of the players that don't know him, it's much more easier for them to just judge and say like, oh, he's just some random kid coming up from China, and China's never been good at Tekken. Yeah, part of that from what they're saying is true, but each case is different, right? Like he's actually playing well, and he showed it. He beat Nobi.
Yeah,
and I told him like,
you can see the eye test. You can see, you know, I know you spoke about all this performance stuff, but you see how he plays in the game. The kid is good.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that got me most excited when I was watching him towards the end of T7. And it's what got me really into watching Ulsan as well when Ulsan was on his come up, is these really young players coming about. Same with Gen as well. Playing a really solid game. I personally thought, watching Season 1 XCC for Tekken 8, that he didn't really play into T8 as much as I would have expected as we got into the later months of T8. Obviously still super cracked, has all of the offensive flowcharts if he needs to run them, but like a heavy emphasis on using his pokes to enable movement, to enable defensive options and stuff like that, when increasingly more and more players are banking on plus frames into plus frames into plus frames. Which I thought was really exciting. Like when you watch XCC versus Strog, it's like, oh, okay, Tekken can be like this. Even in T8, it can be like this. And I don't know whether that's a positive or a negative, really, in the long run, when you look at how a lot of players are finding success in this game now. But he is a young gun who's got cracked fundamentals, and it is a shame that there's so much of a tainted perception amongst some of the older players in the Chinese scene. That kind of view it as if maybe they're looking at it like, oh, it's Tekken 8, he's just abusing heat. Oh, you know, he's never going to be like Nee or never going to be like Nobi. I think that's a shame, but I'm hoping that he'll continue to find success, and that'll empower more of the younger Chinese player base to actually really get into
Yeah, and I think these days as well in Australia, we have a little bit of a revisionist history with Yagami, because I think a lot of people now maybe have gotten accustomed to seeing Yagami as this top player in Australia and having worldwide international results. But I did remember when Yagami was coming out and he was a majority online player only, and even when he went to offline, started winning things. I don't think it's the same level of hate XCC is getting, but I think Yagami was catching a lot of shades from the legacy players as well and some other players.
Yeah,
you know, it could be for a number of reasons, you know, online base only, or they've never played them before, whatever. But I think no one will ever question Yagami ever again here in Australia, and I hope the same will happen with XCC in China.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, I mean, Deeon, you yourself, quick question. How are you finding Tekken 8 at this point?
Yeah, your game, how you play professionally, all that stuff. How about you? Yeah.
So, I mean, I personally think this is one of the hardest Tekkens to actually master at a high level, in my opinion, because yes, you know, a lot of the OG players are probably going to hate me for saying this. They think the game Tekken's always been a defensive game and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of true, but you know, before you could just hold back and play defensive. Right?
Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah.
This game, like in Heat, there is like think about it, right? Before we just learn one optimal combo and that's it. Now we need to learn optimal combos from many launches. Then we need to learn the Heat versions of this, and then the one that you're in Heat or goes to Heat, whatever. You need to learn like 3 or 4 different variations of it. That's the first thing, to master a character properly.
Yep.
And then generally, you know, before, for example, if you're playing Tekken 5, 6, or 7, each character has like their own individual moveset, and each character has probably about anything between 4 to 8 top moves, you know, really top moves like Dragon's Running 2, down 2, whatever, right? And then after those moves, you eventually, even though they're top tier, you're going to eventually deal with enough and be like, yeah, look, that move's pretty busted, but I've dealt with this 100 million times. But in Tekken 8, there's like there's probably like 8 good moves per character. Then there's probably another 8 version in Heat. So there's probably like another 10 version in Heat. So there's a lot more situations that you need to deal with. And like, for me to actually program my mind to actually think about the game much more in like a rock, paper, scissors style. Like for example, for myself, I wasn't a big fan of using Power Crush. I think Power Crush was why wouldn't I just want to sidestep or just move? Sidestep or
exactly.
block, right?
That's how we played, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But now I think you have to learn to use Power Crush. Like if your character has a weak Power Crush, your character is just generally not as good as the ones that has a better one, I think. Because like it's such a rock, paper, scissors. Like Power Crush can get in the opponent's heads. It's going to be able to make them wait. It is literally going to be able to get you out of a situation that you probably wasn't aware of. So it definitely took a lot more adjustment for me to get into the flow of Tekken 8. Even like I wasn't enjoying Season 1. I think another really big problem was I played Jack and he's a chunky character. Can't sidestep. I just stand there and watch everyone hit and 50-50 me. And I just have to kind of do nothing. But apart from that, I mean, like I said, the game does take a bit of adjustment. And I think a lot of the older players, especially on Twitter, like you got to stop whinging and just spend some time lobbying and understanding the game. Like, I see people complain about crap on Twitter, which like, bro, this stuff's been in here for like
yes
15 years, bro. Like,
the fast recovery stuff. It's been there forever,
Bro, like we had to deal with Chris the 80s back 1-4 and tag 2 for like 7 years. And like, what am I meant to say? Just learn to sidestep, or I'll just learn to not attack. Like it's in the game, But now you at least get patches and things aren't as busted, but I think people just gotta stop whinging and just play the game.
You need to teach XCC that's the one top player quality he's not doing. Whinging on Twitter. you need to start him to get down playing. That's why Shaheen got nerfed. If he was whinging, I reckon Shaheen would still be good.
This is actually that's it's not even tinfoil hat. I think it's just real. Like we all like to kind of clown on dudes like Arslan or King Ray when they do downplay, but part of downplay is like competitive ego and like champion mentality. I think you need
you're competing on the narrative of the meta.
Sometimes I look at Knee's Twitter and it's a little bit too humble, and when Knee is popping off, usually he's a bit spicy. Recently he's been coming to Brian's defense left, right, and center against fucking Fujins on Twitter. He does not give a shit. He's like you'll say it in a very polite way, but he'll basically tell you, you're Fujin. And it's like, yes. Say shit that everyone's pissed off about because you've got a bit of that competitive ego. That's good. You kind of need it. You need that spice. Otherwise, you're gonna get what's that thing in athletic psychology? It's called like the yips or something. It's when a long-term competitive winner kind of just forgets how to win because they get in their own head, and it's like a known thing throughout sports. Where it's like you'll just have some players who will just fall off entirely. And it's really sad to see. And I feel like they don't shitpost enough on Twitter. I think that's all it does.
On that subject as well, right? Well, not that subject, actually. I think Poultry and I, with your views about Tekken 8 Season 1, Season 2, Poultry and I, we actually enjoyed Tekken 7 Season 1 Tekken 8 Season 1 at the end of the season. We thought it was becoming kind of like a good game, and there's bad things about the game, but I thought the game genuinely had a lot of good things about it, better than late Tekken 7 Season 4 for me. I do agree with your point. Like the backlashing was actually too powerful in previous games. I think
that was another thing I wanted to mention, actually. What you said there, Deeon, it was kind of mind-blowing for me, at least. The way that you described it, with how in Tekken 8, you're not just fighting in one way, you're not just doing one combo, you gotta have your combo for no heat, your combo for popping heat, your combo for being in heat. And then also you've got 2 entirely different match flow states, depending on whether or not you're in heat, or whether or not your opponent's in heat, and all of the things that you need to account for when that's happening. One thing I got told a lot in T7 when I was trying to learn, aside from old head Victorians telling me to work on my timing, was stop trying to answer everything with a button. Stop trying to find answers with buttons. And I feel like T8 kind of it's still a trap you can fall into. I think you can especially fall into it in T8, but I also feel like in T8 you do need to find answers with buttons. You need to find your power crush placement, like straight up. Like there's a reason why Farzine was fucking up everyone for so long in season 1 of T8. Anytime he did power crush, it hit. Anytime he did power crush, either it just straight up hit someone because he was abusing the range aspect of it, or they mashed into it. And it was just like a reliable way for him to get in people's heads and make them feel like, shit, I can't press my button in a game where everything seems to be telling me I need to press my buttons. So yeah, I think you're kind of spot on. Like you do need to have the confidence to answer shit with buttons, and you kind of have to undo some of that Tekken 7 or even prior Tekken's muscle memory of always trying to look for ways to move or fuzzy or this, that, or the other.
Yeah, I think in order for you to be a good and a top player in Tekken 8, you need to have that adjustment of both sides. So I think when you were saying that, you said you like the way XCC plays because he was quite defensive. And like you're going back to some of his older matches, he played very defensive, almost like a traditional Tekken player.
Mm-hmm.
So when I picked him up on board and he asked me how to get better, I'm like, bro, okay, for the next like month, all I want you to do is just look at Atif Butt, or look at Nobi, or look at Sam Brothers. The character that plays your character is either Dragunov or Shaheen, that plays a complete different style to you. And the only thing I want you to do is, I want you to look at how they answer back to moves. Does this guy power crush? Does this guy just down for 2 on the spot? What does this guy do that you do not do? And I want you to write this down on a freaking notepad. Give me 10 a day. I want to see that there's like answers that you've developed here and that you've actually seen someone do that plays that character. And then I want you to incorporate only that style for the next month. So that's why if you see his games now, he's actually fairly aggressive. He wants to force a lot. Yeah. So, but he knows when to shut it down. I told him, look, in Tekken, it's not like you beat A and then A beats B and then B beats C. That means A beats C. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It's style dependent. So you've now learned an aggressive style because you weren't able to beat someone using a defensive style. Now you can incorporate this aggressive style, and then if it doesn't work, you can go back to the defensive style. So that's what's going to put you on different between someone's like, oh, this is a very aggressive player. Oh, this guy plays very defensively. Well, no. Do you know why I learned this? Because we're in Australia, and people always call us random, right? They're like, oh man, Australia just 50-50s and hop kicks. And I always had this logic. I'm like, that's true, but why are we beating Koreans on a 1-2 sometimes?
Yeah.
Right? The thing is, it works. Like, if you're playing someone on rank and some jack just debuggers you and it gets hit, you got to think about why on earth did that hit?
Yeah.
Right? So for him, like, look at moves that you've never used before, and as soon as it lands, look at why it lands. Why couldn't you have incorporated that move into your moveset and use it in a tournament and make you win that match? So I think having different styles and playing like some aggressive and some defensive and having both aspects of it will make you like a much better performing player in the long run.
I think you mentioning debugger is actually a perfect example because I was watching what's his name? Who's the I can't remember his name right now. The American Jack player that's not Joey Fury and not Anakin.
Joe
Crush. I apologize, Joe Crush. I love him. He was doing a analysis in Tekken 8, so it's already been a while since this event happened, but he was talking about the 10v10, I believe at Combo Breaker or CEO. EU versus NA. I think it was Combo Breaker. And he fought against Sephi Black during this 10v10 and he ended up beating him. And at one point he's talking about how he hit a debugger and how every fiber of his being knew that the debugger was going to hit. And he explained it well. And it's like, yeah, this is the kind of spice you need to be willing to add to your game as a competitive player. You need to, have the muscle memory. It's like what you're saying about telling XCC to literally go and pretend to be the Sam brother for a month is stellar. Like, that's fantastic. Because it's like, yes, the Sam brother is playing Shaheen with a completely different kind of muscle memory and feel for situations to what XCC is probably used to, right? He's playing at a different pace. The way that he's going to respond to any given situation, the way he's going to respond to any kind of disadvantage with his back to the wall, when he's out in the open. If you're only tunnel visioning on your own abilities and your own ability to whiff punish shit or your own ability to fuzzy mixes and stuff like that. You're playing a very like singular perspective game. How are you gonna be able to do what you were saying earlier, like Knee, and win against 98 players out of 100? You're not going to be able to because you've only got that one singular experience. Whereas a player like Knee maybe comes from a more defensive lineage of Tekken games, but when you look at him, he was known as the Mokujin, right? He used to play every single character. That's what was cool about Knee. He's taken the time to go and try and experiment with all of these different styles and gameplays, and maybe some people would say he still reverts back to being a very fundamentally oriented player, but he's made the adaptations. And now here in Tekken 8, a game that people thought he'd fallen off on, he's playing Brian like a crackhead, and he's making top 8 consistently, and he's winning events. And it's like, yeah, you need to be willing to do that. And I think it's great that you were telling XCC that that's something that he should try, because I think more players will benefit from that.
Yeah, I mean, so he didn't know how to use what you call it, the guard break very well.
Interesting.
And I'm like,
back
hey,
foot 2 or whatever, right?
The down duck,
the hold.
The Shaheen hold. The Shaheen
one. And I'm like, you got to look at this guy called Naveed, bro.
Yeah, real.
Naveed is fucking cracky. Honestly, he has the best guard break setups in the world. I don't care.
Yeah.
I actually don't care.
I think he does.
So he's got, I think he goes into stance, crouching down forward, 1, 2, the second hit to the high. So I'm ducking the high, I stand up, and I duck, and I stand, and I get a guard break. I'm like, I remember that. I'm like, bro, how is this guy sidestepping for 1 second and then guard breaking? Like, he's got some pretty insane setups. So I told XCC, I'm like, yeah, look, you might not even know who this guy is, but just check out the video. Whatever he's doing on guard break, make a note of it and start using this shit in tournament.
Mm-hmm. That's what you got to do, dude. I mean, Knee lost to Titan Thor. Sometimes it's the key charge setups from some random dude. Sometimes it's playing like Nobi. Sometimes it's just throwing the whole fucking kitchen sink.
I have a question for you, Deeon, because you had so much experience playing the V, and you've now played a lot of Pakistani players as well, right? Naveed's obviously very strong, and he came from Islamabad, so it's not from Lahore, right? Which is, I think, the strongest city in Pakistan, which is what people say. Naveed is such an interestingly creative player, on top of being a strong player, and he's a very high confidence player. At least that's my read on him. No matter what character he plays, he always hits the fucking craziest combo, or has the craziest setup. Do you know anyone else who's like on that level of spectrum in terms of creativity? I literally cannot name a single person, even like worldwide. I'm sure there's somebody out there, but
I'm sure there is. But the thing is, Naveed actually, so all the characters that he plays very deep in the character. So me and All Black, do you know All Black? He plays.
Yeah.
We hang out. Because he's one of the top players for Jack in Korea, so we share a lot of Jack techs, and that's how I get better, because we share information. And then we were talking about that, and we're like, bro, Naveed plays a random character, and his understanding is like how we understand Jack,
Yeah, true, it is, right?
All it is, we're making a joke about it. I'm like, bro, how the fuck did this guy do a combo from a freaking 195 angle and somehow made it straight and traveled me to the other wall and got an extra 2 jab before pressing a freaking heat button and getting optimal damage? Like, the fact that you've actually tested that is pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, he knows. Like, his Leo era. So I don't know if you know this, Deeon, but my housemate now is Yumi, the New Zealand player, right? We were talking about Naveed and his Leo gameplay. His execution is better than AO Richie's. Free.
Yeah. Well, dude, Naveed's been like training with me for Evo Japan. So we've been playing like 50 games to 100 games a day. And I know exactly what you're saying. As soon as I get launched, I'm expecting to hit the wall at an optimal combo with 1 mix-up. That's it. I'm not expecting anything less.
Yeah, I fight Naveed. I do multiple first to 10s every week, seemingly, at this point, because there's fucking no one playing the game. And it's terrifying. You get launched, and it's like, okay, I'm hitting the wall on fucking Yakushima. Who gives a shit? He's finding a way. And then the mix-up, it's not... this is one of the things as well, I think that T8 enables, is obviously a lot of Oki setups and a lot of legacy mechanics have been nerfed over time, which is quite frustrating, especially for people who are really optimizing the shit out of their Leos or their Lings or whatever the hell. But the kinds of setups that Naveed will run at the wall to ensure that he gets that hit that he needs is crazy. He's never willing to just run the 50-50 mix-up. Like, he'll get you to the wall with a super optimized combo, and then he'll hit you with some setup. He'll go for some unexpected throw. He'll go for some unexpected parry, and it's like, yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to be willing to vary up your options.
And that's why I think he, the last Tekken 7 Bam, he beat a lot of players. He beat Chikurin, he beat Ni. These guys, by the way, know Naveed, so it's not like they just randomly ran into a top player they weren't expecting. In years prior, a lot of these guys have already played Naveed, and they've already know how good Naveed is, right? But that last Tekken 7 Bam, he beat a lot of those, and I think it also has something to do with what you said, Deeon, about playing confidently, just running your game. And Naveed, I've never felt like Naveed's ever short on confidence ever.
Yeah,
he always is willing to make the reads that he believes in, and it's like completely opposite of me. I'm always like paranoid about everything wrong that can happen in the game.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, the thing is, his reads are quite good and quite on point. So, yeah, I mean, he is definitely quite a competent player. It's just sad because unfortunately, with life kind of kicks in. You got family, you got job, you got kids, and that's why a lot of the players just don't have the time to put in. I'm sure if you're going back to my generation of players, we had a lot more passionate players about Tekken than the players are today. But a lot of them did have to drop off, and a lot of them did have to kind of deal with life, and that's kind of just what happens.
Do you want to give a shout out to the players that I don't even know? Just a special, I don't know, like just list of names for the people to appreciate who they are, who they played, and things like that. If you want to.
Yeah. I mean, like all the guys that we used to play together, like Jono, like Remy, Abby, all the old Melbourne players we used to play together. Like they brought a lot of hype, and I didn't even know what deathmatch was until a lot of them introducing me. So yeah, a lot of them. Then people like Yusuf, a lot of the OG like Sydney players as well. But yeah, a lot of them are gone. That's the thing.
How good was what's his name? Jay, the Melbourne player, a Devil Jin player, machine player, Jay.
JY.
Yeah. How good was he?
He was actually he was my number one training partner.
Wow.
So we played together like a ton back then. And he was good. I think he was I would definitely put him probably top 3 at the time in Melbourne.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And how about MMT? I think he's like in America now. He's I
mean that's something I'm very sad about. I mean, he was very good and he was dominating the Australian scene for a very long time. Definitely always up there. And then I think the last OHN that he played in Australia was the one that I won. So he came second, and he was at that point still at peak form. The guy went to America, and I've never heard about him. I thought he was going to go up and start bodying people,
Yeah, I've asked people around, actually. I've asked people around. Nobody has ever heard of anyone by the name of MMT or Mario King player. Nothing.
So
no one has ever heard.
He has actually I think he came back to Australia once or twice in the middle of after he moved up to the US. But yeah, I think his Tekken career has kind of just stopped.
Yeah, I think the only other person that I can think about, well, maybe two that are sort of still playing. Aiken still plays. He's playing in Thailand, and me, who's still. He's no longer the player that he was at the end of 7 in my understanding in Indonesia. But from my understanding, he's still kind of like playing and still having a good level down there.
Yeah, well, Meat still messages me quite often because we used to be very close training buddies. We were like the tier 2 players at the time. It was me and him rocking up in a school bag, going there, and then we'd body people until the actual gypsies and Andrews will come, and then
Lucky Strike. How's he going? Is he good?
I mean,
does his finger still work?
Now, so he doesn't play nowhere near as what he did back then. But yeah, Meat still messages me. He still wants to get better at the game. But I think one thing that traditional players like myself, if I was to speak to anyone and a lot of them talking to me about the current status of the game because I'm so active in it, I tell them you can't think of it as a game where we used to play, right? You can't think about oh man, we used to have all these top players back then, and the skill gap of the new gen is different. They're not as good as what we used to be. Bro, it's a complete different game. You cannot compare it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a complete different style of game. What's in the past is in the past. You just got to deal with what is the current game, what is the current meta, and you just got to adapt. It's simple as that.
100%, 100%. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Poultry? Or Deeon as well? Deeon, like if there's anything you want to shout out, any topics you want to bring up? We got a few people in OCE who's like hardcores in the chat as well. So if there's things you want to talk about, you surely can.
I mean, the elephant in the room here is obviously, where the hell are our players, man?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, like I am on rank. The only person I find is Yagami, and occasionally you get Bobby there, and that's pretty much.
For what it's worth, hey, for what it's worth, I'm trying. Okay, I'm there most nights.
BPG,
I just can't make it high enough, dude. Oh, dude.
Poultry and BPG, they're there every night. They're trying.
I
trying, dude.
You know what? The thing is, it sucks because like now you're dealing with Yagami's like probably 15th character, and I've already hit like 5 characters on Tekken God Plus. So it's like that whole. It's like once we hit the God rank, there's only like 2 people, and then underneath you get like a bunch of them that hits Tekken King or Emperor occasionally, and then they're back down again. So
Deeon, I have a suspicion, Deeon, that I probably don't even have you added on Steam. I'm gonna add you on Steam, and you're gonna fucking play me, dude. I'm gonna send you a message. We're gonna run a 1st to 10. You're gonna run me over with fucking one arm with your eyes closed, and I'm gonna get better. And then I'm gonna get good enough that I'll find you guys maybe once every 2 or 3 months. All right?
Yeah, sure, man. Add me on Steam. Like, if everyone else, anyone listening right now, I just want to say, like, get the hell back in the game, man.
Do it.
Everyone has passion for the game. If you're listening and you're not playing because you're a freaking sook like Eli, play the game, man.
For real.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go, dude.
Bro,
Eli.
like, play the game. Yeah, man. You're watching the game. Play the bloody game. Come out and play. Get competitive. I mean, yeah, sure, we're all getting older, but like, at least put a little bit more effort.
Gotta do it. Gotta do. And we got so speaking of topics, we've got good things on the horizon. We got Fuck'em Ram coming out May 25th. Next trailer at Combo Breaker. Deeon,
no!
What did you think about Fuck'em Ram in T7 first, and then what do you think about his addition in T8? I'm just curious.
Can we get some Fuck'em Ram lines from you as well? No, sorry, go ahead.
Look. Yeah, so this is something I actually tell XCC as well. He's like, so what? Should I play Fuck'em Ram or should I play like this character or that character? And I tell him this: you do not play a character, you play a tier list. Anything below an A, you do not look at. If Fuck'em Ram is in the top 8, by all means, try him out. If he's a trash character, don't touch him. Simple as that. This game, just play whatever's top tier, man. The differentiation between like the top tier player characters and like a middle character is still pretty decent in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I agree.
Real.
Yeah, Fuck'em Ram's top tier. Everyone's gonna be busted. Like everyone only cares about busted stuff at the moment, man. Like, man, I've never seen so many Jack mains since that make some noise thing, and then like by week 2 there is no Jacks anymore. The whole tournament has like probably like 2 Jacks.
Yeah, and 50 million Lars players, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's it. I joined the party.
Yeah, it is what it is. But what do you think about Fuck'em Ram? Just in general.
I think great. Like the character had guard breaks before like everyone else did. He was kind of playing Tekken it beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
The character has very good range. Movement is very crisp. I remember he had a very good backdash, which they nerfed. So, but overall, I think Fuck'em Ram's going to be a very strong character in the game. I mean, they always make the DLCs kind of strong at the start. So
yeah, and he was now characters have installs as like a more universal mechanic as well. And he already had the fucking glowing veins and shit going on with his powered up moves and stuff. So I'm very curious to see what he's gonna have. He's gonna have like a fucking guard break jet kick if you hold it for like half a second. Some bullshit. Like I'm curious. I'm curious, dude. Yeah, I'm curious. No, fair enough. Yeah. Well, who are you playing at the moment, Deeon? Are you still on the Lars train? Do you play much these days? Is it mostly?
So look, for me, I still play as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm forever a Jack main, unfortunately, because I've played the character for God knows how long. But the problem is, I have to play a bit of every character nowadays just to get a bit more understanding of each other character, because I got to find out what the character style is, what kind of moves that they use, and how the character kind of thinks. So, when I'm coaching a player, I kind of can give a bit more information about how the player is kind of thinking, like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's using a lot of busted moves, how is he getting launches? Like, I have to get a bit more overall view of the game. So I have to play a bit more characters, but yeah, I mean, I play Lars. I think the problem with Jack at the moment is he can't sidestep, and I think sidestep is still quite important, especially if you can't sidestep a heat button, then something's wrong,
Yeah.
So for me, I do play Lars, and I think I will be playing quite a fair bit of Lars at BAM as well. But yeah, so at the moment, it's just going to be Lars and Jack.
I respect it. I mean, that kind of leads to this then. With the state of the game at the moment, like, one, do you like it? Do you like where we're currently at? And two, what are you hoping may or may not change in the future?
So I actually don't care about how the game changes or doesn't change. I'm actually very different from what a lot of people think on Twitter and this and complaining about. Whatever you give me, I'm just going to play. Like, I had a talk with JDCR recently. I'm like, bro, people are whinging on Twitter too much. I'm like, yeah, man, we just play, right? I don't ever think about the development. You give me a busted character in the game, I'm probably going to play it. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
But in terms of where the game is right now, I actually think the game is not as bad as what people say.
Thank God.
I hear a lot of people with a lot of haters. They don't like the state of the game. Yeah, man. Like, let's be honest. The start of season 2 wasn't that great. Like, the game was very. Yusuf was making a joke that you had like 10 people bashing the shit out of you, and then now they put a band-aid on, you get 8 people bashing the shit out of you. It's kind of true, but the thing is, they are going a little bit in the right direction. And then, like, I genuinely think there is a little bit more counterplay now compared to a lot of the season 1 stuff. There was literally zero counterplays. Like, with Heat, there's no counterplay. You stand there and you wait.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah. So there is a sidestep even after Heat now. There is a power crush even after Heat. So there's definitely a bit more mind game. I think the reason why a lot of the people complaining is because they used to win and they can't win in the current game and the current meta. So they want to bring it a little bit more on the defensive side. And I see what these players are talking about and what they're saying, and I get what they're saying, but I think we just got to adapt to what the current game is. I do agree with the fact that, like, some characters should have a bit more, like, player identity. So, for example, traditionally, Bob and Steve never had launches, and Bob and Steve players always knew that. So, that's something that we'd always do. Okay, we'll do a -15, and I get punished a bit less for it. But now everyone has a good 15 or 16. Everyone's combo damage is quite similar. And in terms of, like, power crush damages, risk and reward, they're all very, very similar in my opinion. So the game feels like everyone has their own set of tools and moves already. That are all quite similar. So, I mean, if anything, I like to see a bit more character identity. Like, one more thing that I don't like, the execution for this game is horrendous, man.
Yeah, they neither is it. Yeah,
like, we used to watch Tekken and be like, holy shit, nobody did 3 running 2s, man. This guy's too good. Oh my god, this guy just broke 3 grabs in a row. What a god. Now it's like, bro, you broke. Why did you not break a grab? How's that possible?
You don't really talk about execution. Like, when I look on comms and stuff like that, the only thing that comes up really that I can think of is Taunt Jet Upper, which it's almost rote now because one of the best players of all time is a Brian main, so we see it often. And then like perfect Electric Wind Godfist, and KSK is a very hype player, so when it happens, it's awesome, it's cool. But outside of that, what do you really see?
Yeah, it's because of the actual controllers we use. Like, traditionally, we use an arcade stick in an arcade store. Like, you're going into a random shop using a random stick, and then you can perform a downfall to electric. Holy shit. Now it's like, bro, you're on a hitbox. It's 2 buttons for you. Sure, you just got to practice
an
the
essay,
time.
bro. Yeah.
It's not. So, I mean, I think the game is not hype in terms of, like, watching the execution, because everything is freaking easy to do. And the second thing is, I mean, the character identities, I think that's just out.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure,
I play Steve, and at the moment,
man, they fucked your character hard. Like, that character became a
he's mix-up central, dude.
Like, what the hell happens here, man?
But here's the thing, and this is something that I appreciate about how you talk about the game. Is you've just been saying, like, yeah, new seasons come out, who gives a shit? I'm playing the game. The thing for me with Tekken is there's nothing like Tekken. That you can try and coax me into playing Virtua Fighter or Soul Calibur or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I'll tinker with them. I'm not super interested in 2D fighting games. I'm not super interested in first-person shooters. I just want to play Tekken. And as of now, even with Steve in his current state, and he's the only character that I really play these days, I like the character and I like the core aspects of how Tekken functions enough that it's never going to be enough to pull me away from the game if the game's in a bad state. I was thinking when Season 2 launched, that shit was super dire, and I think it was. They had to do some emergency patches. But, yeah, just play the game. Just play the game. This is what we got. And sidestepping is arguably the best it's been in T8. It's super clean, super smooth. That's what I love about Tekken. Poking still feels really nice. Obviously, they've made the health buffs, but you can still fucking chip away at a dude and put him in a weird fucking 4-way mix-up and hit him with some crazy parry setup and still feel like you're playing Tekken. And that's all that matters.
I'll tell you something, right? The last thing that we have this patch that we've never had to deal with since Tag 2, I don't know if you guys know this, it's called time management. In Tag 2, we have to consider what is time management. It's like we've got 3 rounds. What am I going to do in my first game to get more information and then use that for my round 2 and 3? Now, the game actually needs to use the full time because the health bar is so high and it actually requires the full 60 seconds of gameplay. How many times are you playing Tekken 8 now? And you're like, oh shit, we're almost at time over. So like now time management is actually a bit of a thing. So you can't and like, yeah, look, people say like this game's freaking a casino game. Bro, it needs just one Evo, bro. Come on.
Yeah. It's too many.
Yeah, and look at the way he won Evo as well. Look at the way he won Evo, man. Yeah. He played like him. He made it work. He made it work. Yeah, and Brian's crack, but he made it work. Right?
That's the other thing as well that's been cool for me is Evo Japan was exciting to watch, dude. Tournaments are still exciting to watch. That you can complain as much as you fucking want on Twitter, but go and watch it with like a pure heart and the intent to have a good time, and you will have a good time because you are going to see cool shit. The way that Ni won Evo, he was fighting against Morgold, and the very last interaction of the entire fucking tournament is Morgold going for Feng's new back 4 into the heat flip, and Ni doing a perfect sidestep into launch. And it's like, yes.
First time.
That's fucking Tekken. First time of the entire set, of maybe the entirety of fucking top 8, for all I know. Ni sidesteps it, launches him,
Jet Alpha,
wins the tournament. It's like, dude, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Tekken's sick. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Deeon, it's been a fucking pleasure having you on, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Honestly, I'm really you're also, respectfully one of these older players, one of the longest players that's been around, right? So it's great to hear you still have a competitive mindset about the game. Like if you choose to play the game, especially for you, right? Like if it's somebody who's like a hobbyist, okay, you don't like the game, you don't have to play the game. You know what I mean? But in your position, right, in XCC's position, in Yagami's position, whatever the game throws at you, you have to make the best out of it, right? Yeah. And complaining is like wasting time. You abuse what you have in the game. So I respect the hell out of you for that. And I've always also said that you and Jin really sort of revolutionize how we think about the game here in OCE. Because back then, right? Because back then, during your days, you definitely know better than me. We were so crippled. We don't have any theory or concept. You said before, like you thought the game was all just pure reactions. There's no reads or downloads, right? Everyone just thought it was pure reaction. I think that's what you said, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth. So we've come a long way from those days, and it's because of people like you and people like Jin. And by the way, Jin's Lego collection is starting to become uncontrollable.
Oh my god, that was one of the most like bizarre happenings to me. Jin tried to take me under his wing as like a potential protege or something back in T7, because I lived close to him as well, and I was really grinding the game for a while. And I didn't know shit about Jin, dude. I did not know shit. He invited me over to play. Or I walk in his house. It's really nice, but it's like there's barely anything in it. I wasn't sure if he just moved.
You
into
walk
the
inside his
apartment.
house and you booted up Lego Star Wars.
Dude, literally, you walk in the front door, you turn to the right, literally in the entrance. It's like this big open hallway room. He's got his PC set up, just fucking freestanding. There's nothing in the room. It's just such an empty room. You can see the back of his fucking computer's cables just strewn around. And then just a shitload of Lego. And I asked him when I walked in, I'm like, what do you do? And I think he said he's in finance and he looks well off. He looks like a like a man's man. Like he's getting it done. He's in the real world. But then you walk in his front door and it's Lego boxes and Tekken just freestanding in the middle of his fucking hallway. It's like, dude, let's go.
Yeah.
Bro, so me and him used to go down to so in Tekken 6, you know, the game used to be pretty expensive, like $1 a game. And then the owner of one of the machines at is it Bandura? It's the one. It's one of the university, Bandura University.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, they used to have a machine there, and then they used to give us like hourly charge. It's like $10 an hour, right? So we used to go there and play for $10 an hour. We just split it half. Me and him just grind and play the game. And then eventually we got to school holidays, and then the guy's like, "Hey guys, we're gonna be closed for the next like month because of the holidays, and then you guys can't play." So me and Jim were just looking at each other. I'm like, "Fuck, man, I think I got this idea." I went up to the owner. I'm like, "Bro, your machine's gonna be left here empty. Why don't you pack this thing and put it in my house, and I'll give you a few $100?" And then he's like, "You have a great point, you know, like that's a business module." So I told Jim, I'm like, "Well, you can't bring it to my house. I live with my mom, so that's not gonna happen. Let's do it at your house." He's like, "Yeah, I live in a bloody shared house," and I was like, "So let's do it." He's like, "I can't, man. My room's just very limited." I was like, "Well, don't you have another room in the house we can chuck in?" He's like, "I come to think about it, there's this room in the middle where like they haven't released it out yet. Let's just chuck it in there." So we just put the machine in there. Then it was like me, Jin, and another friend. We're just sitting there grinding, playing the game.
That's so sick.
Told my mom, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this camping with a trip."
No fucking shot, dude.
Message me, do not call me, do not do anything. I will not be around. My phone will be off. And he's like, "Yeah, you be safe. You pack your stuff." She helped me pack my bag, and I ended up doing camping at freaking Jin's house in the middle of the Tekken, like right next to the Tekken machine and a bed. By day 3, we have not eaten probably. We're like dehydrated. We are pretty messed up, just only playing the game, and we're talking like 15, 16 hours straight because
You guys are
like, we got to get the most of it because we got the machine, right? I kid you not, at like 7 a.m. in the morning, we're still playing and we're both screwed. Our eyes aren't even open. This random guy walks past the hallway and he just looks at me. I'm like, "I don't know this guy." And Jin's like, "Oh, we're fucked." I'm like, "What happened?" And then this guy just starts blabbing at me in Chinese, like, "Hey man, this is my house. What the fuck is this? What the hell is this? What is this machine?" I'm like,
What?
I don't know, man. Blame this guy. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys have 5 minutes to get out, or the police gets called." And then Jin's like, "Oh, pack it up."
Where the fuck were you guys?
Where did he put the machine, dude? What was this room?
That's it. So it was just me, Jin, and another guy standing in the middle of the road with a Tekken machine next to us. And we're just looking at each other. We're like,
Fuck.
"What the hell happens now, man?"
Whose house was that?
It was Jin's house, but he gave us like a spare room, which was meant to be empty. And then I think someone was going to move in. And then the owner came there just to check out the room. He's like, "Bro, there's like 2 homeless guys with a Tekken machine in here. What the hell's going on?"
No shot.
Oh my
dude.
god, you guys are absolute animals. He never told me about that story.
That is fucking crazy, man. And it sounds correct. It sounds like I'm fully on board, dude. Because holy shit, I really like the idea that out there's some dude at Bandura University who's like, "Yeah, I used to make a fucking killing off of these 2 fucking Asian dudes who would just like rock up and play this rinky-dink fighting game arcade cabinet that I just had lying around, and they'd pay me $10 for an hour, like every
Bro,
week."
we bought the machine, you know that,
Yeah.
right? We ended up buying a Tekken 7 machine.
That's banger.
Yeah, we're like, "Bro, we just need to get a machine. So at least we can play for free." That's why we thought about it.
Dude, that's champion mentality, dude. That's why XCC is in good hands, man. XCC is in good hands. You're doing the Lord's work,
100%.
dude.
I don't know how long I'll continue to play the game because life continues to get busy, and I don't know how long you'll continue to play the game, Deeon, and be around the scene, right? But
Mhm.
honestly, whenever the time comes when you leave, you're a fucking hero, man.
Absolute hero, dude. Absolute hero. Nah, thank you
Thanks,
so
bro.
much again for joining us. We're gonna wrap things up here. Was there any final words, any final statements you want to make, Mr. Deeon?
Yeah, man. As I was saying, like, boys, anyone that's listening that's not playing, get back, man. You know, play the game, enjoy the game, give it a chance. Stop listening to what other people are saying. You take your own perspective in the game. And yeah, we're all Tekken lovers. Like, well, what happened to people like Nick and like freaking Brisbane? And what happened to that? Like, I don't see anyone. Like, guys,
Mhm.
come back and play. You know, I liked having a bit of the competition between the states. I've always enjoyed competition. I hope this actual real drama between like states can
Yeah.
keep it at a minimal. You know, if people want to, you know, say they're better at the game, bring
Yes.
it up. Bring up a money match. You know, I hope nothing goes outside of the game. Nothing gets personal. Nothing gets. You know, there's no hate between people. Yeah, I just want the best for everyone. So come back and play and enjoy, man.
Yeah, Melb number one, dude. Melb number one.
Awesome. Thank
Well,
you so
we'll
much.
see at BAM with your results. All right.
Real.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Real.
Let's go.
It all comes down
Let's
to
go.
results. It comes down to results.
That's a final reminder for all of you fucks in the chat. Come to BAM, dude. 200 entrants. There are players flying from around the globe. Arslan Ash is going to be there, okay?
Bro,
you don't want to
Brett,
be the
come
guy
to
who
fucking
missed out
Melbourne
on
as well.
Arslan.
I've been calling this guy. Come out, man. We need more people from in Sydney. Come. Stop complaining. Just come.
You get
Yusuf, you came.
get Eli back in the game, please. Please
Bro,
get Eli back in the game.
Stop whinging and play the game.
Eli, you heard the man.
Yeah.
Come back. It's time.
I miss Eli.
Stop
I
playing
miss
that
Eli.
Dark Souls bullshit, you know, and play the actual game.
Real as fuck. Real as fuck. Nah, thank you so much, though, Deeon.
Thank you so much, Deeon. Thank you for
Nice,
today.
nice.
This is actually my favorite episode.
Yeah, this is banging,
and
dude.
because of you, you've lived such an interesting life. There's so many things I want to ask you that I don't think is.
We're gonna get him back
appropriate.
on. Don't worry, dude.
But-
You're coming back, whether you like it or
I'll
not.
be back. I'll be back.
Easy, boys.
But
Yeah,
lads,
thank you, Deeon.
thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna send you guys all on your merry way with a quick raid. But it's been a fucking pleasure. And we'll see you guys all in the next one. I'll send you guys all over to Mari. Go send us some love. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.
Goodbye, buddy.
See you later, guys.